Okay, so I guess we're gonna start, and if someone's gonna join later, they'll see. So hello everyone, my name is Céline Chaaya, and I'm a Lamsa ambassador, and welcome today on our Wednesday webinar. So today our talk is about father's mental health. I'm gonna start the presentation. It's about father's mental health. So this is a topic that you probably have not really heard of recently because it's not really common for us to talk about father's mental health. If you previously joined the Lamsa webinars, you may have listened to Karim's webinar about women's health and postpartum problems. And here we're going to tackle the father aspect of it. So this is a little overview of what we're going to talking about. We're mainly going to explore the mental health of fathers and put it into perspective, understand why it's important, and finally see a little aspect of father figure in gay couples. So this is okay. So this is a quote that pretty much resumes what we're going to talk about. There are so many things that shape each person's idea of masculinity, from social norms to cultural influence, and sometimes it can be difficult to reconcile all these expectations. This is especially true for fathers who face additional structural barriers such as employment and economic challenges, or living in different housing than their child, which disrupts their ability to connect with the children during the early years of life. Okay, so this pretty much sums up everything because we're going to talk about the problems that fathers face on a daily basis, and especially nowadays and especially in Lebanon because of the crisis, many fathers go to live abroad and work abroad, so they're not present in the evolution of their kids' life, and this can lead to some problems in their relationships. So first of all, let's understand what's father's mental health. If you see this picture on the right, you may find it very common, and we see it everywhere, maybe in our households and movies. Usually when the fathers come back from work, they are tired, and there are the kids that are playing around and they are very tired, ما إنهم جلادة to play with them because of the other responsibilities that they face. So it's important to distinguish between the father of the present days and the father of our ancestors, because in past years, the father was only responsible to work and to maintain a healthy environment for the family. He went to work, came back, and the mother did everything else. She was responsible to clean, to look after children. But the modern father is pushing the boundaries of many stereotypes, and he's doing a lot of more activities, like full-time. He has a full-time job. He comes home and clean the house. He cares for the kids, and this is especially present in Europe and the US. In Lebanon, there are some households that are more taking this aspect of fatherhood, but as you may know or experience, some still follow the old habits. However, all in all, we can say that modern fathers have new responsibilities. And this is very important, and this leads to a lot of problems sometimes. And here are some numbers and statistics. You probably didn't know that 10% of dads experience paternal postpartum depression, and this number rises to 50% when the mother is also suffering from postpartum depression. And all in all, dad's emotional well-being is on the decline. And it is being very overlooked because we tend to think as fathers as the main supporter of money, good mood, and a good structure for the family. and he has a lot of pressure, but this doesn't mean that he's always up to this challenge. And when he's down, he usually doesn't seek help because of the pressure that society has on him. So mental health, a quick reminder of what is mental health. Okay, mental health, it includes emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It affects us on multiple levels, such as the way we think, feel, and act. And it's very important at every stage of life, from childhood and adolescence through adulthood, and in both sexes. Some factors may contribute to mental health problems, such as biological factors. For example, if we have in our family some history of mental health problem, we are more prone to develop them, life experiences. And that's important because we're going to see that a traumatic child, birth child, can affect the mental health of the father. And finally, family history of mental health problems. And especially in fathers, it's important to know then that when the father's mental health declines, the quality of their co-parenting relationship will be affected. Families who have fathers that struggle with mental health issues, particularly during early childhood, will tend to have children with more difficulties managing their emotions and behaviors. So that's very important because a father figure is very important in the household. And when we lack this, it may lead to some problems in the development of the child. But this is not always applicable, because we can find sometimes people and children who grew up without fathers and who are developing in a perfect way. And as I said before, men's options are very limited to access to mental health clinicians because they are not really used to work with this kind of population. They usually treat children and mothers, and it's very rare for them to work with fathers and men in particular. And it's essential to acknowledge that father and paternal mental health is very important, and this will lead to a better environment and sustainable relationships. And we should always encourage dads and all men to seek mental health care when they are struggling. We shouldn't blame them for what's happening, because when nobody's ready for this change and this new step in life. And of course, if they are struggling, we should encourage them to seek help and not punish them in a way. So becoming a father, it's very, very important, and it's a life event that's really life-changing. They can experience new emotions and feelings and changes initiated by the transition into parenthood. And we usually understand that when father, in their relationship with the mom, it's usually they are the first and the focus of the woman. And then when she has a child, the child will be the first focus and the main objective, and she will care for the baby, and all her attention will be deferred, and that may lead to some instability in the relationships with the mother. And also, many fathers feel alienated and have little knowledge about how they can support their partner at this time. They brought a new human being into life, and nobody really teaches us how to deal with this new step. These days, around 98% of fathers are present at the birth of their child, because before it was usually the mother and her family, her mother and her sisters, that used to take care of her and to bring the child into the world and to take care of the baby. Nowadays, the father is very present, and this leads to this is good, but sometimes if the birth is traumatic, the father is witnessing these events and he can be traumatized. So he goes through a roller coaster of emotions, and this may lead to isolation and abandonment. And he cannot always cope with this problem. So father's mental health matters for many reasons, and we need to understand more about how we can help dads. Recent research has focused on understanding more about fathers' mental health, and there are recently new campaigns that urge better support for fathers, because that's the founding father of IFMG that I'm going to talk about later said that it's not about support for fathers instead of mothers, it's fathers as well as mother, because if we help the father, we're helping the mother, and if we help them both, we're helping the children. So this is really important to note, and there are recent campaigns to promote fathers' mental health. So the date of the webinar isn't random. Actually, on the 21st of June, it's Father's Day, as you may all know. But something that you should also note is that the day after Father's Mental Health is Father's Day is Father's Mental Health Day. So, as we said, we are socialized to think of man as provider of support during the perinatal period and early parenthood. And this may sometimes lead to experiencing mental health issues and postpartum depression, and they tend to need support of their own. And however, society views men as stoic, self-sacrificing, and strong individuals that shouldn't seek help. So when men feel none of those things, they will not be able to admit it or seek help. And this stigma is really becoming very important in our society. So we should, as I said, encourage men to seek for help if they need it. And there is also something that we should, as health advocates, encourage is that we should encourage the prenatal visit to the doctor so that he can help us and guide us through the steps that we should follow in order to help us cope with this new life event that is the child's birth. So, Postpartum Support International is an enthusiastic supporter of International Father's Mental Health Day to take a whole family, father-inclusive approach by shedding light on the best practices and related resources for dads, their partners, and those who support them. It was founded by actually a father who went through depression, postpartum depression, and he got out of it. So he realized that he should help men with the same problem, and he created this support group. And they take the day after Father's Day to launch this social media campaign, which highlights the aspect of father's mental health. Now, I don't think a lot of you have heard about this, but this is an occasion for you to understand better this problem that is very frequent that we tend to ignore. And now, finally, we're going to talk about fathers in gay couples. So, a little reminder of what's the mother's role and what's the father's role. Infants prefer their mothers to their fathers when they seek solace or relief from hunger, fear, sickness, or some other distress. And as we all know, mother's role is very important. They tend to be more soothing, they are more responsive to the distinctive cries of infants, and they are better at detecting the children's emotion by looking at their faces, postures, and gestures. And a lot of studies have been made on children deprived of maternal care, and they realized that these children lacked feeling and had superficial relationships, exhibited hostile and antisocial tendencies. But let's not forget the role of the father, because they provide the essential role model for boys, and a father's presence in the home protects a child from fear and strengthens a child's ability to feel safe. So it's very important to have both figures uh, to have a healthy environment. And recently, in many countries, the adoption of children by gay couples has been accepted. So some people may view it as something that's bad or against nature, and they use their argument of the absence of mother role in this family. However, let's not forget that mother role can be played by another member of the family. So we shouldn't really use this as an argument, because a child growing up in a family with a single parent, or with parents with both sex, may develop in a normal aspect and have a healthy life. So clinical experience would suggest that motherlessness causes even greater damage to a child, because the role of the mother is very crucial in establishing a child's ability to trust and to feel safe. However, let's not forget that this is not always the rule, and both father can provide a healthy environment for their children. And just to a little idea for the end, nowadays we know what we're experiencing in Lebanon, and especially all the stress is on the father, because he's supposed to maintain an economical stability for the family. And we have seen recently in the past years many fathers that committed suicide because of their inability to provide a certain level of stability to their families. So we should really try to promote mental health and encourage people to seek help, whether it's fathers or whether it's mothers, anyone, because especially in our environment now. And I hope that this talk was helpful, because father's mental health is not really talked about these days. So remember this next week during Father's Day and the day after it, to promote a little bit of mental health. If you have any questions, please feel free to do so, to ask them, and thank you.